I'm going to get things kicked off now. So, market still a little bit steady from where they are. Nothing massively changing at the moment, but there's some good lessons we can go over. If you are concerned with measuring the volatility of any market, okay, there's various different indexes you can use, volatility indexes, as you'll see on TradingView. But you've got the VIX here, okay, and you can see usually you're stumbling around this kind of level, okay. At the most in March last month we really pop up, but literally for the last few weeks you've come right down, okay. And what that does is it just slows markets down. You don't get much movement. You can look on your watch list and you'll see that it's very lackluster, but it doesn't mean that you can't learn. It doesn't mean that you can't check things over, and it's a really good time to be doing that as well, because this will come up, okay? It cannot stay low and it will come up. And when it does, that is going to be a time when you'll need to know what you're doing. And if you don't spend the downtime learning how to do that, then you'll just miss it, okay? So anyway, let's look over some charts. If anyone has a request of a chart they want to look at, just pop it in there or in the Discord. Either's fine, or comment below if you want to. What I will talk about, just first of all, I called this yesterday. I did a post about it. If you look at Ethereum, much like Bitcoin, you've been slammed down. Now, often when you've got a very steep upwards trend, like you can see here, that forms, the falls don't always go so far because they are they're in a harsh uptrend. So that's why we said, okay, well, if we fall, we'll fall to early PA zones and get a reflection. And that's what you did. Okay, you fell to very early price action zones, the ones I'm labeling, and you've got a small bounce up. Now, what you need to do is kill off those longs, because that bounce up is extremely lackluster and weak. You're not getting a forceful move. Your margin's tight because you've got PA levels, minor PA just here. Okay, so I'd take those gains off the table and be out with profit. That's fine. Of course, you may get up here. I'm not disputing that, and I think it's you've got a relative chance, but you may as well take some gains off the table because you've got a fair move there already. So Ethereum, I'd be out. Bitcoin, much the same. Okay, I did a post on that if you haven't seen it, but I'd kill off those. Running over FTSE, okay, UK markets. You've just got this channeling action. It's just channeling and channeling and channeling along. Okay, it's really boring, but you could use that as hedging ammo. Okay, so you could trade that to the long side on each of these points. And often when markets do dawdle, you get the opportunity to do that. Okay, you get the opportunity to get long on those falls and exit for those gains on the top side of that sideways movement. So again, there's no point in wasting your time pretending that there's nothing for you to do. Okay, you can always do something when markets are slow, whether you're learning or not. Euro yen I've spoke about. I've just checked the chat. Any requests, guys, pop them in the chat box. If you can boost this, do feel free. And also, if you want to get started with myself and change your trading right now, go to the link under the video. So, yeah, so gold, I reckon a lot of people are hot on my heels about gold. You've got a minor reshort here. It hasn't popped up enormously, but you could take a little bit of that short, okay? I would take a little piece of that. Anything much higher into key PA again, up here, I also like short. Okay, so if you do break up there, I'll hold this, and if we do get a fall, I would kill that one off and kill that one off too. So you don't really have a loss there. But a lot of people call this head and shoulders type things. All it really is just price rebounding and you trading it as a trend. Okay. You can see it's coming down in a trend like, but I wouldn't be surprised if you do get higher. But it would also make sense if it did fall now, which is why we're looking lightly short. Okay. So yeah, my bias is short on gold anyway. A lot of people's bias is short. Anything into these zones is constituting a high price, and accordingly, as a natural market trader, it's short. Okay, and that's just because that's a high price. I've done that one a million times. I think everyone knows that if they follow me, why we would be short and how we would be short. It's not about saying, okay, this is coming to an all-time high, so I'm going to sell my house and absolutely load in. It's not about that at all. Okay, it's about you deciding to take some of it in accordance with where price is. The reason why I said, we don't want an enormous position there is because your bounce on early price action zones in 1970 has only taken you so far. Okay, so really what you're looking for is to short pops when you're trading to the downside within trends. And at the moment, your pop is not enormous. It's $30. It's okay. And that's why you don't sell your house and ram short. Now, if you do get higher, again, I mean, yes, it's a more feasible price to the short side if you get an all-time high, but we don't sell our house and go mad. You don't load in because there's nothing stopping it from going even higher than what you thought wasn't possible. Okay, and you have that on various different assets, even Bitcoin. Nobody thought it was going to go up there, and it did, and it will. It's the same for any asset. The DAX, look, COVID times gets thumped. UK stock market, COVID time gets thumped. No one thought COVID was going to happen, but it did. Okay, so just be careful of that. SPX. Again, because of the dawdling like the FTSE, I'm trading it to the long side. I'll probably kill it off about here, but I like to take advantage of sideways markets when I can and where possible. Okay, because you can accumulate hedge gains. You can trade this sideways and offset any bad trades you've made previously. If you got short earlier, I've got a short on this. If I got short earlier and I'm making enough money on the hedge side to close it out for no loss. You could do the same thing on the AUD yen, for example. You can see that sideways. Okay, this is all taking you to the upside, right? And conversely to the downside. Okay, and that goes on and on and on. And it's not a case of just saying, okay, well, that's boring. You can use that. Okay, you can use that because if you were shorting on the way up, where I'm drawing these red lines, you've now got the means to eradicate those losses simply by taking advantage of sideways price action. And it's the same for New Zealand dollar across the board. Any yen pair, I spoke about this long actually before. I like this lightly long. Okay, you've got tech level there. You've got minor movement. If you look back, you can see you've had a bounce here as well. You draw an eclipse all the way across and just use your brain. What happened before and what are you judging in the near future? Again, we're not selling our house. We're not interested in that. What we're interested in is taking proportional trades with risk. Okay, so you can see that you're coming up here. All right. This more or less invalidates it slightly, but you're still coming to the upside. So, I like it lightly long, pretty much. Doesn't look too reactive. I wouldn't be surprised if you redrop again slightly lower than that low and maybe enter 83.83 and just straight to the upside for sideways hedge gains. Oil, like I was saying, it's too early to buy if you've hardly fallen back. Now, for me, still, you've not closed the gap on that jump when OPEC said, okay, we're going to ramp up. We're going to basically make demand rise, drop supply. For me, I think you may close slightly lower than that gap and it will be filled. And I'm reflecting on all this previous price action. Okay. Again, you've seen it before. What are you doing this time? How are you going to trade it in the future? That's what the stream's really about. What you've seen before and how you can make a new decision on that going forward. So I like oil 75 for longs. At the moment, it's just too early. That gap's not filled. The fall back is high up. Okay, off that 200 MA, 83.5 to 77 is not far enough. I need 75 at least. before I'm going to get a good trade. Hey, Greg, and welcome, guys. There's lots of people in here. If you can boost this, that'd be fantastic. If you're new, please do click the link, get started. I've started on Twitter as well. I'm not much of a tweeter, but I thought I may as well. Yeah, that's right. That's right. Thank you for mentioning that. So let's start off with Greg's question. Hey, Will, I know it's not your usual pair, US dollar PLN, taking into account what's happening with the euro dollar. So I'll touch on that. And absolutely, I taken Adrian. There we are. Thank you. Thank you for telling me your name, because often I call people by their username and their username isn't always a name. So I feel a bit awkward. But then I don't want to overstep and ask people what their name is because I don't know them. Do you know what I mean? So the Polish zloty. Okay. Right. So this one, for me, okay, what's happened is you've brushed nicely past your earliest MA on the 20. Okay. So your price is coming back to reality, but you're not quite within this 40 MA. Now, often you do get a touch in between these two. Price, does like to come back to your moving averages, but obviously that is not a strategy in itself. It's not enough. You just need to use that as a gauge. Okay, you can't use one simple aspect and that's it, because the price comes through that time and time again, right? So what you do have, however, is a really good technical long zone. I would start to very lightly scale in. This is a monthly chart, so we're looking longer term. I think what's going to happen is you're going to get under that low. And for me, 416 is a really good long zone. Okay, really good PA long zone. Again, like I said, the point of this stream, look back, and you've got that PA there. Okay. And remember, like I said, you're coming back to your moving averages. This price was really extreme. It's a lot like the US dollar yen. Okay, it pulls back, and you have to judge. What trading is all about is judging a few things. Have I got a good technical long zone? Are people likely to buy? Okay, am I trading within that up move? Okay, the answer is yes, because you've come up, down, up, down, up, down, up. Okay, that's what we're looking for. And just reflect on your technicals. That is telling you not to sell. The fact that you've come from here, 5 to 416, is telling you not to sell. If you're selling, you're too late. So I think you'll get slightly lower. And if you shape up on your weekly, you can see the price is very heavy-headed to the downside. That's another indication. Remember, you can use lower time frames and ask yourself, does it look strong or does it look like it's teetering? Okay, so I think you'll get slightly lower on your dollar PLN. Good question. Bit of a rare chart, but still the principles are exactly the same. Whatever pair you're trading, it's the same strategy. So can I look at the Dixie? Well, the Dixie, thanks for that one, Adrian. The Dixie is actually very in line with what I just said, which is quite handy. I'll go up all the way. I've done this one a couple of times. This, for me, is just looking weak. And I think you've got slightly more room. And likewise with the euro dollar, I think you've got room to go. So, this isn't an incredible PA zone long. It's, again, use your mind and judge price action. Price action rules everything. It's not just a saying. You really need to learn how to look at charts. And that's why I built the indicator you can get on this link, because it identifies that for you and tells you what is going on pretty much. And, no one had really done that. So I thought I should. But nonetheless, this is weak. Okay, you've come up and you've hardly done anything and you're just dropping. It's weak. And I think you've got a little bit further to go. Likewise on the euro, same thing. My drawing's still here. I think you've got a little bit further to go. The key here, however, is not, okay, absolutely not. Do not buy that. Yes, I'm saying it could go up, but it's too late to buy. Okay, you've missed it. Long one, you've missed. Long two, you should have got them if you were following me. But long three, look, there's no dip. Can you see how that is good because there's a dip? Okay, that's a dip. That's a dip. And there's no dip. So that's why we're not buying. You only want to buy where there is dips, because the only way to attain value within a trend is via a dip. Now, the reason why I was so stern on what I was saying on your US dollar PLN chart is because, again, what you've got there is that significant dip. You've got that pull down, you've got that dip within that uptrend. Okay, so you're, like I said, you're looking to the upside long term, and you've got that dip. Okay, you can see that. So if the price is here, you wouldn't buy because there's no dip. So just remember, you want to buy dips, you want to sell pops. That is the main strategy with trading. Inside here, if you click the link, I know I keep saying, but there's new people coming in. You can get all of that. It will draw all the trends for you, every point. And then you can't really forget to do it. So sewing coin. I know he's been here for a while. Great to see you again. Thanks for the questions, guys. People dream about that $1 million trade. Yes, you're absolutely right. You're absolutely right. I mean, trading, I wouldn't say entirely it's a boring mechanical repetition. It is a repetition. You're completely right in that. And yes, sometimes it can be boring. Today is boring, right? But today is a boring day. But when it really does move, the market does move. It's fun, it's exciting, and that's why I do it. It's enjoyable. It's solving a puzzle. When the puzzle's slow, the jigsaw stops. You've lost the piece, if you like. It's gone under the sofa, and you're on your all fours and can't find it. It does get a little bit more boring, but it changes. But no, you're absolutely right. Trading, you just have to think about it like this. I mean, I can't really. I'm not sure. Well, I could probably put it here. If you rolled a dice 100 times, right? Okay, you'd get something like this, right? You'd get 1, 2, 6, 4, 3, 1, 5, 6, and you can't have a 7. 2, 4, 5, 1, 1, 2, 2. Okay, you get something like that. It would be random numbers like this. Okay, now if you sell your house and you say, okay, I'm going to guess it's a 2, right? You've got one chance of getting that 2. And if you're wrong, you lose everything. Okay. But if you've got all these chances to get the 2, look how many times you've landed it. You're not going to lose. It's all about probability. It's about statistical distributions. And that's what is, again, I teach a lot of the time, that you can't learn that overnight. It takes time. That's just the fact. So there's fantastic questions there, guys. Thanks so much for asking those. Has anyone got any more questions? I'd love to answer them if you do. If you're not in the Discord as well, just drop in there, because there's a lot of stuff you'll learn. I post blogs, videos, all sorts while I trade myself. Has anyone got anything to ask? Just drop it in there and we will look at it. Morning, Will. Anthony's fantastic member inside. Yes, absolutely. Thanks for that. Brilliant to have you as well. He's doing really well. As always, Anthony, if you have any questions, just ask me anytime and I'll give you a hand. So you're in New Zealand. I posted about earlier, very rightly, as you say. Now, what you've had is a very tight upwards channel, okay, for a long time, right? So up. Again, like I said, people rave about this. It just so happens that all the way up, you've hit into that 20 and 40 MA. Yeah, totally, that's right. Okay, in this instance, that's correct. But again, it's much like I said before, it's about the long term, okay? There will be periods where that doesn't happen, right? And you come underneath like that, okay? And then you go over again, and you go under, and you go over, and you go, over. And it's constant. You're never going to make a strategy plainly on that, okay? It's really hard. So you just use them as a gauge. When the price dips, okay, you've got a more fair long, and you take it up. Now, if I swap to the weekly, which is more relevant in regards to what Anthony was saying, you can see that we haven't hit. If I just do an eclipse symbol along here, you can see really, really easily that we have not hit. Let me just pop this out. We haven't hit anything, okay, until you look back to 2020, because the price has just cleared up above those points here. Okay, these price action levels, or in other words, where you've looked short previously. Again, we're looking to the past. Now, once you go along, what happens is you start to get a bit choppy. Now, if that's unclear to you, okay, these points here is what I'm referring to, this more or less. If that area is unclear to you because it's choppy, like I say, then you can go even further back. Go to your monthly chart, right? Or even your yearly, and just look along and see what you can see. Now, if the monthly is still too much for you, don't be afraid to go to the 12 monthly. Just remember, if you're taking a short on this, it's going to take much longer because you're using really old time frames. Okay, the longer the time frame, the longer the trade's going to take. Most of the time. Okay, not all the time, but a lot of the time. And 180 is where I'm looking short because I'm looking back. Now, just note, in the spectrum of where the price has gone, you're still quite low down. Okay, so if you look at the high 257, okay, and you look at the low down here, that's a big difference. Now you haven't come considerably far up. So if you're shorting it, I do so lightly. But the point is, again, like I was saying, you're looking back, you're understanding how price action works. Okay, you're seeing these kind of things. Let me just get rid of this. You're seeing these kind of moves, and there you are, you see? So when you rebound, you're coming to all these candle wicks. Those are places where you've got price reaction. So that's what I was talking about. Absolutely, boring mechanical repetition. Sometimes the markets are slow. You can't help that. And at the moment, it's exactly the same. Okay, it's slow. It is. But then it will be fast for a long time. Then it'll be slow. Then it'll be fast. Slow, fast, slow, fast, slow, fast. You can't pick and choose. You're either in it or you're not. You have to be in it for both. You can't be one, if you like. But you're absolutely right. You're absolutely right. And I'm sure you're seeing that more and more. The reason why I do a stream on a day like this and when everyone else quits is because I'm consistent and I turn up and I keep going. I don't stop. So, that's the only way to win. You can't just quit because you don't like it. You won't learn to do anything, really. I think everyone knows that after a while. Anyone who's talking about Bitcoin specifically, you look to the left again, you've got those price action levels. I still don't like it long enough. I don't trade crypto massively, but you would need something more significant, really, for me. You would have to pull under. Whether that's likely or not, given this, these PA levels, that's another story. But I'll cover that on another stream, probably once you get further. But again, you haven't moved very far down, so you don't have that significant dip. Remember, if you're going to get long, you need a dip. If you're going to get short, you need a pop. If you don't have a dip or a pop, it's unlikely that you're really going to be getting any value on your trade. And when you go out and buy something in real life, just tell me, what do you do? Do you buy it when it comes down in price, or do you look to buy it when it goes up? I think pretty much everyone in here agrees that a low price is better than a high price. I mean, I sure do. I don't like buying things for more than I have to. And it's no different. Absolutely no different. Another pound pair that's a bit interesting. Again, you've got the same principle because it's a New Zealand dollar pair. Just put your time frame up and look to the left. Okay, I like this short as it rises. You are moving heavy. I think you'll get further. I don't think there's massive interest here in this pair anyway. But again, it's just another example of where you can look at historic PA and stop yourself getting in so early, because some people really rush in when they've got an extreme price, but you do find that sometimes you've got more to go. But again, there's no dip, so you don't want to buy. Okay, the price is high. Don't buy it. Has anyone got anything else to ask? I'll probably go on till half an hour, so it'd be great if anyone's just got any closing comments, closing questions, and I'll summarise what I spoke about today. I will post this on YouTube, and if you haven't started with us, get involved here. Go under the video and click the link and get signed up, because it's free to start and it will help you enormously.